Woke up, rolled out of bed, and headed to the garage for an AM workout. It's a little harder for me to get those started because I have to wake up, and here I am. I did check my news feed, and one kind of cool thing I saw today, that they cast Lan in the Wheel of Time series that they're making for Amazon. I read all the books when I was in high school. The last one, obviously, much later, it came out, but I read the bulk of them that had already been published when I was in high school. That's a pretty big part of some of my thought processes, like day to day. So I use the flame in the void technique to calm my mind sometimes, and it taught me a lot about the dynamic between men and women, and gave me a kind of a interesting way to look at politics and kind of political maneuverings between people, and how everybody's got motivations, the great game. So yeah, I love the Wheel of Time, and I am way overdue for a reread, so I might pick that back up and start getting back into it before the series comes out, because I don't love having too much detail about source material before it comes out, but I already have read it. I kind of know all the things that are going to happen, and I would like to enjoy rereading them once more before the show comes out and I have too much comparison going on between the two mediums. I had no knowledge whatsoever of Game of Thrones, didn't read the books, and I now that the series is over, maybe I will, because it's a different experience, but I really liked having a clean slate with that one. And the all of the Marvel films, I've been pretty familiar with a lot of those characters before starting, watching the movies. I already knew who they were, who their origin stories were, but the way that they made those movies was just unprecedented. I mean, Iron Man came out and really blew us all away with how close it was to the comic, and staying true to the source material and still being a really great movie. So we're a little spoiled with that, because then we also got a lot of adaptations from, let's just say, other studios, and even from Marvel Studios. They had to adapt a lot of the characters into the MCU in different ways than they had in the comics, because they didn't have the rights to the characters, or one tiny little tweak in a movie that we were totally okay with kind of led to another, and it just grew into its own universe, totally forgivable over time. And so I've kind of learned to forgive creative license when I'm looking at movies. When I was in high school, Lord of the Rings came out, and I was furious at the changes. "Where's Tom Bombadil?" I said. And now I can barely remember who Tom Bombadil is, because the movies were really great, even though they changed stuff. So that's kind of where I'm at with adaptations, and people making changes when you're making a movie or TV show about something. I'm pretty excited to see what the direction is they're going with the Wheel of Time. They cast yesterday Daniel Tenney, I think his name is. He was Agent Zero in the X-Men Wolverine Origins movie, which wasn't a great movie on its own, but he was good in it, so I'm pretty stoked about that. There's obviously, the internet does what it does. There's a lot of backlash to all the casting that's come out for that. How dare they not cast a bunch of white people? But, when I was reading the books, looking at the covers especially, I found myself, imagining the characters the way that they were drawn on the covers. But a lot of people are making pretty good points about the actual text, and Robert Jordan characterized these guys as just kind of olive-skinned, here or there, slanted eyes, like little things like that, where, when you look back, the people doing the artwork for the cover couldn't possibly have read these descriptions. So that's like cool. Like, get a good actor that can portray the emotions, and when you're creating nations, you stick to similar physical features. So Lan is gonna be from the Borderlands, so I'm assuming the rest of the Borderlanders are probably going to be Asian or Asian American actors. That's, not to, be strict about that or anything, but that's probably the direction they're going with that. Is the King of Malkir. There's actually probably not a lot more of them. He's the last, so they could definitely get away with doing something a little different for the rest of the Borderlands. And yeah, the Emmons Field kids, like a lot of darker skinned, like almost like Indian, Pakistani, light skinned African guys. And apologies for my ignorance, I don't know their particular origins, but they're darker skinned kids. And no, I don't recall them being described that way in the books, but who gives a crap? You create a little town that's, in one little corner of a bigger kingdom. They don't get a whole lot of, don't get a whole ton of interaction with the rest of that kingdom or the rest of the world. I mean, the main point I always thought was that Rand sticks out like a sore thumb. In the books, it was because he was a redhead. But in this case, he's the only white kid in the village. Unless, they have a little bit more of a mixed cast for extras and stuff. But I think that's a great way to set him apart and make him feel like an outsider, because that was one of the driving character points for him. He always knew that he was a little different, but didn't really want to admit it. I should say spoilers, I guess, because he's not quite like the other kids in the village. If you haven't read the books, I'm not gonna hold back a ton of that because they've been out for a really long time. And if you haven't read them leading up to the movie, he's significant, we'll just say that. So yeah, Rand being cast. I haven't seen most of these actors and things. So Rosamund Pike, obviously a fantastic actress. I think she'll be fantastic as Moiraine. this guy for Lan, Dan something, you know, fair enough actor. I haven't seen him in much else, but again, I already kind of trust the showrunners on this so far. I did see a clip of the kid who's playing Perrin. His name escapes me now, but I saw a YouTube clip of one of his movies, and he's got some good acting chops. He can really emote, and I like to see that. So he's gonna have that brooding, wolfy quality that we need out of Perrin, and I can't wait to see him swinging a Smith's hammer. First couple episodes, you know, we're probably gonna get some intro to these characters. You know, the healer, the mayor's daughter, the blacksmith. Can't wait to see what the opening credits are gonna look like for this thing. Like, opening credits are one of my favorites for shows. I always wind up with a theme song stuck in my head after I binge something for a while. You know, I'll have The Office or the Friends theme song is stuck in my head for years now. So that's one little thing I look forward to, is new theme music that I don't already have stuck in my head. So the score, it really sets the tone for a show, and I'm interested to see the kind of tone they're going for with this. The showrunner, Rafe something, had done an interview a while back, and he had said he had hired on one of the effects artists from Doctor Strange, which gets me pretty excited for the visuals in this show, because Doctor Strange really visualizes magic in an interesting way. And for me, the weaves of the One Power in the Wheel of Time were always very visual. I wanted to see like this, like, different variety of like Celtic knotwork for some of the cultures that do it, and maybe like you know, different style of braiding for others, and you know, because there's a lot of different ways to wield the power in that series, and it's all kind of like a scientific formula, you know, like the pattern that you weave literally dictates the results of your use of the power. So seeing that visually in the same kind of style that we see, you know, the shields and the spells come up with Doctor Strange, that could be pretty cool. Yeah, so look at me, I'm already awake. I rolled right out of bed onto the treadmill. I got my blood flowing. I am running a little late for work though, so I'm gonna cut my video short today. But I don't know if anybody's really into this. Still waiting for some kind of a angry comment about one of my way out there opinions. So yeah, go ahead, let's start a little conversation about it, or don't. I'm fully content to just talk to myself here. So as long as no one thinks I'm crazy, because I'm putting it on YouTube, so it's not just myself, it is technically a YouTube channel, so it's real, man. All right, yeah, I'm gonna wind down here and go get some breakfast. I gotta get dressed for work. But thank you once again. Keep at it. We can all stick to it, and we're getting somewhere. Awesome.